snake and the tiger.
Whew. All right. Well, this is a fun way to start tonight's call off. Snake and a tiger, what do those mean to me? Right now, I would say that the snake is a shedding. It's a metamorphosis of kind of getting rid of that previous layer of protection, and I think becoming a little bit more into a space where the tiger can pull into more of our forward momentum as we go through these times over the next couple months, and having that veracity and that I think integrity are the two words that for some reason feel alive for the tiger. So both shedding the skin and embodying the new energy. Hmm, what a
Wow.
wonderful way to start tonight off, Eric.
A
Happy
good
to
pull, Michael.
Happy to have you a part of this premiere just discussion around Calm in the Chaos, a project that you and I have been working on for the past month and a half, almost 2 months now. We have a number of people that we've been co-creating this experience with, and we have a couple people that will just be in the chat box tonight. So if there's any kind of questions, feel free to put those into the chat box. But more or less, this is going to be a discussion between you and myself. We've been doing weekly calls about where this chaos is taking us. And as you know, I'm really big advocate of really pulling back and seeing where the opportunity can be found from these times, and how can we link arms together and have a little bit more fun through these experiences that we're really being forced into, but at the same time we can move into in an integrity way. So love to just say hello and have you just first of all just tell us a little bit about yourself and CB Now and the new Creator IO app that you're doing. And yeah, I'll let you have a second here.
Hmm. Thank you, Michael, for bringing us all together in these spaces as you did with the group that we led um, in Denver in the attic. And this was quite a moment that we ended up there, wasn't it? It was right as the sort of whole paradigm of what we were used to shifted very quickly, and everyone went into lockdown. So it felt like an appropriate moment to get together in those early stages and put something together that we felt like could be of service. And I think that's what brings us here today, is in service to ourselves and each other. And this time is different and challenging. It's not quite that we're in the same boat. We're definitely in the same storm. Um, so these chaotic, stormy times, we're all sort of, finding our way in that conjuring of something different, something new. We don't know yet what that is. So I'm in a state of curiosity, as Michael and I, as you and I discuss quite a lot. This state of being curious and playful with what's happening, and not only within ourselves but all around us. And I think that's another part of what we felt like was going to be good with this series, which was playful in moments and serious in others. So I'm excited to share it with the community here.
Yeah. And the great thing about this offering, we kind of built it out so that each episode will be released each day following tonight at noon. So it'll be kind of a perfect way to drop in midday to reset, reground. They're very simple practices, but they can be quite potent. We have a full range of different experiences that will take you from voice to ceremony to breath work to ritual, and these things that I think really will allow for both us to attract different people that will find their calm through different modalities and practices, but also the discussion and the opportunities that each presenter is really setting forth and calling in a way that we can, have a little bit more curiosity, as you said, and just take each day as its own day. And yeah, and I also feel called to talk about that overload that we're experiencing. You just mentioned the storm, one of our favorite words, and I think that from sensory to emotional to just pure stress overload is such a pertinent thing right now, and I really want this offering to empower people to find a tool, just even one out of the multitude of tools that you will find over the next several days that can actually resonate with you and also be a daily practice that you can move forward with for the next 21 days, 30 days. Make it a habit so that you do have a release valve on that pressure that does come from any type of overload on our nervous system and our emotional system.
Yeah. I'm in the text, or I'm in the chat. And it's interesting, just as you say that, I'm more of a monotasker. So if I'm typing something, it's not often I can do many things at once. And I've noticed that allows me to do certain things well in certain moments. And for years, it seemed like monotasking was almost sort of lauded and rewarded and like highly sought after. And I think after years of that, and now we're on the devices even more, we're finding that, and check your inbox real quick, check your chat. You got it? You
Yeah,
haven't done it
it is. It's on you right now. It's spotlight.
yet. Oh, I see, because I'm still, there you are. Oh, hi. What I was sharing was, really in these times when we're all on these devices so much more, how can things like, the blue light glasses change our experience? Right now it looks kind of funny, but this really can be helpful. Hello, guys. And, all these moments we're spending on the phone and the computer, how can we do things that restore us while we're doing it? So we don't have to take like a full break from it, but we can. It's more about integrating these tools while we're sort of going from one thing to the next. So seamlessly transitioning is kind of, maybe a desired outcome from this is a new conversation with how we relate to technology. It's really only been 13 years then that we've had exposure to this. The iPhone came out in 2007, as well as the Facebook news feed. So we're sort of newbies when it comes to this, generally speaking. And it's just this invitation to identify and connect with what is happening on these devices at all times, and realize how empowered we are to actually take a step back from it, use the tools that are there to minimize the distraction, and find space for just us in the midst of all that, even while quarantining. So this will be part of the invitation that we'll be sharing here today.
Yeah, well, I'd love to just actually, you mentioned you'd like to lead us through a little drop-in practice. That would feel really good right now too. We have some people that have now joined the group, and it would just be nice to collectively get into a coherent state.
Wonderful. Well, if Michael, you wouldn't mind unmuting everyone, I'd like to ask your and everyone's consent to do a practice together. This is called the 10% energy lock, and I can describe it and then I will ask your consent. And it's a practice using our hands, our feet, and our eyes at 10% tension. And so we can do it right where we're sitting. What this is doing is keeping the energy more within rather than out through either the keyboard or through the phone. So there's a big energy out that happens when we're on the phone and we're on the computer. And there's a big energy out that comes from the eyes. So it's really impacting the eyes to be on these screens. So it's this invitation to, even while you're on the screen, bring them to 10% attention. So I'd like to ask your all consent, if that sounds good. Would you like to participate? Just give me a this, Michael. And if anyone can hear me and they want to say yes.
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 I consent.
I think we got everyone.
Yes.
Beautiful. Thank you. Let's begin. So just coming to a comfortable seat. And if your feet are on the floor, just bring them to sort of flat position on the floor. If you're sitting on the floor, bring your knees so your feet are on the floor, like cupping the floor. And then bring the hands right in front of you, just right out in front of your heart. Instead of either just real loose or real tight, just keep them about shoulders width distance apart, and then bring them to 10% tension. 10% means just a slight engagement of the fingers in the palm. So it's like just a slight engagement. Just notice this for a moment. 10% in the hands and palm. And then do the same thing with the feet. So bringing the feet just to a slight engagement with the floor. Whether you have socks or barefoot or shoes, it doesn't matter. Just bring 10% tension to the feet, just slight engagement of the toes, the ball of the foot, the corners, the edges of the foot. And just notice here. And then let's add the eyes. So if the eyes are, just notice where the eyes are. Maybe if they're really like looking at the screen right now, if they just bring them down a little bit. If they're real low, just bring them up to 10% engagement. So it's like an activation of the eyelids, and the gaze is slightly relaxed but focused. So 10% tension in the eyes. And then let's add the breath. So just inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. Keeping the 10% tension in the feet, hands, and eyes. Keep going with the breath in through the nose and out through the nose. A couple more times on our own, connected with our own energy. Yes, and let's add the visualization. And for the visualization, you can go ahead and flutter the eyes closed if you wish. You're welcome to keep them open. With the eyes wherever they're at, visualizing just a ball between the hands. You may picture this ball however you wish. Maybe it has a color, maybe it has a specific texture. And then once we've kind of gotten that, let it go and allow it to turn into more of an energy ball. So just visualizing some charge of energy between the hands. Feel its shape between the hands as you breathe and keep the 10% tension. And take the energy ball, and if it's out in front of you, bring it in closer towards your chest. So your palms are almost right at the top of your chest, right above your heart. And just feeling this energy ball moving in towards the chest, into the lungs, filling the lungs with a positive charge, eliminating any unwanted particles, little bits of dust, little bits of anything that's not optimal for our breathing. Allow the energy ball to just dissipate those. And reinforcing to yourself that your lungs are healthy and your breath is strong. Beautiful. And just taking the energy, the ball right out in front of you again, just extending the arms a bit. And bringing the hands under, holding the ball down, and then bringing the hands down to the knees. And take rest. You can keep the balls in your hands, keep the ball in your hands if you wish, or let it go. Bring the hands down and ground. It's just hands on the knees. Send the energy down into the feet, into the earth, and enjoy. Feel how it feels. If you feel something, if you feel nothing, this is perfectly normal in this new normal that we're co-creating together. So thank you for your practice. You can use this one whenever you wish while sitting on our devices, and just take a moment to bring the energy back in. Out, 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 out. Screens, devices, out, out, out. Just bringing it back in, allowing us to continue to make these amazing connections. Technology is doing incredible things for us right now. We'd be in a much different state of being if we didn't have internet, right? And we'd be like, what? How do I get any connection? This is the connection we have right now. That's shifting already. And we can prepare ourselves for more in person and online, because I don't think this is going away. I think this is here to stay, but we've got to evolve the conversation. We can't just be glued to our screens and like tripping out on the blue light all the time. I mean, I love the blue light of the moon. So thank you all. Thank you, Michael, for the invitation.
Yeah, thank you, Eric. That was really beautiful and felt really somatic, I think is the right word, or embodied. Just any practice that we can really bring us back into our center place when we are, especially connecting on the digital platforms. I think it can be quite meaningful, and I think that is one of the main points that we really try to allude to during this time, is that we can actually have these practices that uh, bring us both in connection with ourselves as well as connection with the other people that we're communicating with. We can show up more authentically. We can show up in a place that uh, can be felt more. And when we describe that even visceral experience, it can actually be a very bonding opportunity. I've been on a number of calls in the past couple of weeks that talk about what is the virtual experience, and how can that be more rounded in a way that can be more of a felt experience. And people talk about, the family life that you see when you are actually going into somebody's home. You actually see them, their significant other, their kids, or just their own environment that they reside in. And it can be such a telling thing that can be quite impactful on relationships. And so when you can both bring that energy back in, it almost allows that to be a little bit more magnetized. It can be a little bit clearer in a way that can be quite shining, and we can really be those Sherpas during these times, and you know pave that new path forward. So the curiosity that I have for you is that you were there for the filming of each of the episodes, and there seemed to be a common theme, obviously, of the narrative of what we've been seeing happen during these times of uh, staying at home and isolation, and just actually a lot of fear. But then there's also the perspective change that we kept hearing about, that co-creation and how we can empower others, whether it's through leadership, whether it's through our own voice and singing, in these ways that can be really just game changers in such a small and more potent way, versus trying to do everything. And just curious what your reflections are. I know we're going to be watching one of the actual episodes here in a couple minutes and previewing that, but I'm just want to get a little feedback from you on where did you feel most alive during this process?
And the pre-production planning was certainly exciting. Showing up in on set in a time when we didn't know anything. I mean, we know more and we know less right now, but at that time there was nothing, and it was just completely uncharted territory. We were all there. So to be sort of in this space with other people at that time when everybody was going into lockdown, and we had our our ways of defining it. I think what felt most alive for me was like, how do we navigate continuing to co-create when we can't physically connect, knowing this was going to be the last a last time for a while. It felt very like, it felt very not forbidden, but it almost felt like it would have been taboo in a way. And I thought that was an interesting part of the journey, actually getting to connect with each presenter, creator on set in that time, and seeing how just connected and calm they were from using the respective practices. I think really spoke to the authenticity of what we've put together and shared on the series. They were really living it at that time, and we were all supporting each other, and that's what we want to do here for this community. And just more of that would make things, I think, go smoother. Yes, there's waves, but we can kind of coast it and ride it when we have these practices.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I actually love that you talked about the part of actually how each person showed up during that initial wave, both with everybody having discussion on how do we approach this setup. We actually had a month-long pop-up experience that we were going to do, live in-person experience, of course, and we pushed that aside, and you having the background that you have and our friendship for almost 15 years now really paved the way for us to, I think, kind of forge through and find something else that we could offer. And I think that also attests to the ability to be agile during these times and see where the opportunity lays. And it might not be exactly what we thought we had planned, probably isn't going to be, but how can we actually have a little bit more playfulness, a little bit more curiosity, a little bit more softness and gentleness on ourselves that we didn't foresee all this to happen, yet how do we show up in these times? And I think that really showed a great opportunity, especially as people are transitioning to the virtual world. Of course, in person experiences are really unmatched and unparalleled, but we have what we have right now. And I think that it is our duty as leaders in this space to uh, create opportunities for people to say yes to, because creators really should be able to create, the facilitators should really be able to teach and pass their knowledge and not get so overwhelmed with these things. But I want us as community to show up as supporting, having the people that are participating and watching right now with us, as well as the people that will join throughout the next month as we have the new episodes released as well as the replays. This will be a free and completely available platform through the end of the month. We have a number of giveaways. We have a 3-day tea or 3-hour tea ceremony that we're offering. We have coaching sessions. We have light therapy sessions. We really have a culmination of things that can actually be quite exciting to a number of different people. So we're happy to have you guys with us today. And I think, Eric, I'm just want to open up the floor to anything else you want to share before we go into the practice with Michael Bates and some ritual breath work.
Let's share this fire. Anybody who feels like they need some fire element in their life right now to burn through. obstacles, diseases, viruses, old patterns, old ways. Take a moment for yourselves, and if you want to, I'll do it too. Set in intention, make a prayer, whatever kind of offering you want to make to the fire, letting it go. And the fire burns through all obstacles and illusions. And also brings focus and attention on the things that are important to us, which is changing all the time. And it brings our attention to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. All right, well, I have the video queued up. I will share the screen on our end. The internet seems to have picked up, so we should be good. There might be a slight delay, but the point of it is to actually co-experience this breathwork practice together. So it will give a little short introduction. So if you guys need to go take care of anything, go do that right now, but we will be starting that here in the next 30 seconds, and there will be just a little introduction so you can put the volume up, and it should take about 2 minutes to get into the actual practice. It is a breathwork practice that can be, like Eric just shared, quite cutting and burn through some of that facade and that veil that we can build up that can really skew our lens. So this is one of my favorite things. Michael Bates is a really esteemed practitioner facilitator, both with men's coaching as well as different ritual and practices that really allow people to move through periods of their life. And I think that's, again, another element to what this offering is. So I will get this queued up here. I'm going to share the screen.
Are you queuing it or am I queuing it, Michael?
I got it.
Because the streaming version, I think, was slower than this live version, but up to you.
It'll be the same both ways.
Okay.
Okay. And share. And I'm going to do that one more time with the audio intact. Hold on one second. And yes, this meeting will be available afterwards for review, as well as all the different episodes. All right, second time we'll be working, and here we go. Share screen, and now we will have the computer audio attached.
Welcome to Calming the Chaos. My name is Michael Bates, aka Spotlight. This is a practice, my favorite practice for cultivating warrior spirit. What do I mean by warrior spirit? I mean that spirit of the warrior that lives within all of us, man, woman, or other. It's a part of ourselves that I think in the modern world doesn't have a lot of space, that there's been a lot of degradation, I'll say, of the warrior within all of us, largely I think due to a lot of the history of the 20th century and the preference of the soldier, the mindless automaton, over the warrior, one that meets the moment with their own voice, with their own decision and discernment. And so this practice is going to be one that invigorates and brings up power in a big way. It's a way that we can really step into meeting fear in a powerful way. So this is Wim Hof breath. For those of you who know, Wim Hof is a very wild and woolly Dutchman that has become pretty world famous for combining cold water immersion with a very specific and old style of breath work that comes from the Tibetan tradition of Dumo. I learned this practice from my teachers out in LA, my mentors Justin, Patrick Pierce, and Michael Holt specifically, through my work with Tribe men's community out there. So my invitation for you now is to join me in this practice of Wim Hof breath. So if that sounds like something that you'd be into, please join. So for this practice, the invitation is to find a comfortable seated position or even to do it lying down. It's very important that we don't practice this standing up because the chance of becoming dizzy does exist, and my ask for you will be to take good care of yourself during this practice. This is a challenging practice. It's supposed to be challenging. It's supposed to be something that pushes our edges, that forces us into a position of confronting certain challenges in our life. For me, it's very much a practice of confronting my own fear. And you might experience that during this practice, and if you do, my invitation is to just try to be with it, very much in the same way that all of us are trying to be with what's happening on the global scale right now. Can you find a space of calm and collectedness within yourself in the midst of what is happening all around you? So finding a seated position, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking 20 deep breaths together. They're going to be maximal inhales. So you're going to be breathing in as deeply as you can in through the mouth, and then the exhale is just going to be a relaxed exhale. We're going to be doing 20 of those breaths. It's going to look like this. So you're sucking in maximally through the mouth. You're actually letting the body sort of open and close if you can. We'll be doing that for 20 breaths. What you're going to experience is we're vasodilating the body. We're hyperoxygenating our system. We're packing in more oxygen than your body's used to dealing with. The thing about this practice that's so special is we can go a couple weeks without eating. We can go about a week without sleeping. We can go a couple days without water. But without oxygen, within 4 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes, we're brain dead. So oxygen is in fact the most abundant resource on the planet, but it's also the most necessary for human survival. So this is a practice that can expand our capacity for breath, expand our capacity for life. For those of you aware of systems theory, input is directly correlated to output. So it goes to say that the more oxygen we can take into our system, the more we can expand and strengthen that system, the more output that we have available to us. So again, we're going to be breathing 20 deep breaths. You might experience sensations, tingling in the body, lightheadedness. This is all perfectly natural and a part of the process. My invitation again to you is to take good care of yourself. If you start to get too lightheaded, pull back from the practice and breathe. We'll begin the practice, and I'll be taking you through a single round of this practice. Now, I usually do 3 rounds, but again, my invitation to you is to really take care of yourself. Feel how it feels once you've done the first round. It's an intense practice. You're going to feel a lot of sensation, but we're going to be taking 20 deep breaths together. Those maximal inhale, relaxed exhale. Maximal inhale, relaxed exhale. Once we get to 20, we're going to hold our breath. So we're going to fill our lungs completely full of air, and we're going to hold. Now, there's several different ways to do this Wim Hof breath. So if you've done a different style and you're familiar with that, I'll invite you to try that. Or if you want to try this version, join in with us. Find a comfortable seated position. I like to have my hands open on my lap, open to receive and open to experience. So from here, we're going to be taking 20 deep breaths together, breathing in maximally, breathing out in a relaxed fashion. Once we get to the 20th breath, we'll suck all the air in and hold. And we're going to hold for as long as we can. So I'll hold there with you for a while. Hold for as long as you can. Once you have to breathe, see if you can hold it a little bit longer. And my invitation is to really meet that challenge. Your mind is going to start, oh God, I need to breathe, I need to breathe. See if you can find relaxation in that place. See if you can find a place of calm within the storm, because that's really the secret teaching of this practice. So once we're there and we need to breathe from that held breath, we'll breathe all the air out, we'll push all the air out, and then we'll hold a second time with no air in the lungs, and we'll hold for as long as we can there as well. Again, if it becomes too much, or when you need to breathe, breathe, and we'll come back to our natural breath and see what's happened. Let's begin. Breathe in. That's halfway. Noticing any tingles, any lightheadedness. It's just fine, stay with it. 3 more. 2. 1. And on this next inhale, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. Suck in as much air as you can, suck in. And hold. And you'll hold with that tension in the chest, that full inhale, fully maximized in our oxygen intake, and just see what you notice. Often I experience tingles. I'll get a little sensation in my head. It's perfectly normal. If you feel like you're going to pass out, breathe and relax. But my challenge to you is to see how long you can stay in this space. Can you meet your body's tension with relaxation? Can you meet any doubt and fear that may arise during this practice with steadiness and presence? You may find you can hold your breath for an inordinately long amount of time. It may even surprise you. But as you start to get to the end of that oxygen complement, keep going, keep going. When you need to, breathe out, push all the air out, all the air out, all the air out, push it out. And now you're going to hold here with no air in the lungs. This is usually a bit more challenging. There's less oxygen in the body. See if you can resist the impulse to breathe. Push yourself as much as you can. And once you need to breathe, breathe in, come back to your natural breath. Feel and experience your body's gratitude for breath, the gratitude for life. And just feel what you feel, as Eric always says. Notice what you notice. See what's changed. What's different in your experience than it was when you started this practice. Again, this is a practice made famous by a man by the name of Wim Hof, W-I-M-H-O-F. I strongly suggest going on YouTube, finding videos of this character. He is quite an eccentric fellow, and his practices are truly powerful and have truly served me deeply. And again, I practice this daily when I can. For about 3 rounds is what I like to do. And then after that, I'll go get in a cold shower, which is another wonderful way of presence practice, bringing you into your body, bringing you into the experience, bringing you out of your head, bringing you out of any distractions, any feelings of anxiety or depression. It's a wonderful practice to bring you into the moment, to reintroduce you to yourself and your capacity to stretch beyond where you think you can go. Again, my name is Michael Bates. It's been a pleasure to be here with you today. Take care of yourself, take care of your friends, your family, your community. And my invitation to you is to really step into the leader that you are, that this is a moment for all of us to step up, practice what we preach, and offer ourselves as medicine in the world. The way that you carry yourself at the grocery store, at the barista, walking down the street, impacts the space around you. So what I'm not suggesting is suppressing fear or suppressing any of your emotions, but can you cultivate a sense of presence, relaxation, and love within all of this swirling energy, challenge, uncertainty? Can you be medicine? Can you be a medicine man and a medicine woman and a medicine person in this day and age when we need you the most? I'll see you there. Thank you.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, that presence, appreciation, and love.
It's a powerful practice. I'd love to hear anyone's experience, Michael. I don't know if we have time for that. Maybe.
Yeah, we have about 5 minutes left. I'll mute, or if anybody just wants to um, put a message in the box, I'm happy to mute you. And or you can unmute yourself. Actually, give me 1 second. And name. Okay, so now everybody, if anybody does want to share, I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but you can unmute yourself if you would like to share anything about that practice or any other reflections, of course. We'll start off with you, Eric. Actually, I'm curious what your reflection was.
My reflection is Michael really keeps the attention, and I found it easy to follow along with him. That's kind of what I was curious about with the other people in the group, how they found Michael's attention. A big part of what I'm focused on with creator platform, and why I've been doing this has been activating authentic voice on camera and in podcasts and in this digital world that we're in, so we can also use that in real life. So I really enjoy the way Michael sort of just holds it, and he was there, and I was like, okay, I feel safe. I feel like whatever this guy tells me to do right now, I'll just do it. And even when I was taking that, like I've done this practice, I don't add the huge body motion. That was definitely strong. I felt that strongly, and I definitely felt the activation of the oxygen. And yeah, someone just showed up here.
Yeah,
Sharon,
I'll bring Sharon on. Here we go, Sharon. Thank you
that's
for
my
your
favorite part
reflection.
too. Yeah.
I thought that was really great. I have taken a full day workshop with Wim Hof, the man he was speaking of, and it's intense. Like Wim Hof is very crazy, but this actually spoke to me a little bit even more than Wim Hof, because Wim Hof is like, he's, like you said, he's a little kooky. This guy was very focused. He had his like camouflage on, like, this is military, we're being serious here, don't get distracted. And that was actually incredibly effective. I've taken 2 other workshops on Wim Hof. Very different personalities for everyone, but there was something about this that like was like, nope, be serious. Still, it was very clear that like I wasn't able to hold my breath very well. I think it's just the quarantine. I'm just like, I'm not doing anybody says. I'm just sitting around and snacking all day. So I'm like, wow. Um, it was one of those moments lately that I've been like, okay, I am really slacking off in life here. So I'm like, I can't even hold my breath for an extra couple seconds. But I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was very well made and produced, and I thought all of what you guys are up to are great. So I love the schedule, Michael. Really, really cool speakers, and the light sessions. By the way, I tried that with Allison, and honestly, like one of the coolest like alternative therapies I've ever experienced by far.
Cool.
Yeah, Allison's definitely a wizard in a number of ways, and I love that she is both doing some self-care, self-soothing practice for this series, as well as gifting a light session as one of the giveaway things for the different people that sign up. And I also want to say, Sharon, I love that you mentioned that everybody has a different way of expression with the same modalities, with the same practices. Of course, a number of these have been around for thousands of years. Some of them are newer. And breath work is, what Wim Hof does is a culmination of different things, and he synthesizes it in a way that can be, I think, experienced differently for the people that are attracted to that languaging, that voice. And I think that's also part of what Eric and I get super curious about is how can we allow people to find their own voice? They don't need to be that same person that they feel that they need to be. I think social media is going to change in a very interesting way through this time where authenticity is going to be more valued than just the number of followers. So um, thank you so much. I really appreciate you joining tonight.
Yeah.
And
Thank
then
you, Sharon. And those plants look great. You're doing something very well there with the aliveness in your space. So also being kind to yourself for the things that you are doing. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Mm. And then also, I saw that Candace had a note in the chat box about saying thank you for this experience. I love this type of breath. I felt releasing tears coming up. So thank you, Candace, for that share. It's also really interesting, the emotional standpoint of what can be experienced with breath work and both the mental clarity that some people can get or the emotional release or just the really very unique body high and sensations that can be experienced through the practice. So thank you so much for everybody. Thank you, Sharon. I really appreciate you coming on tonight. It's wonderful to see your face. Thank you, Eric, for your time this evening. I do want to open a little space just if there's any other things you'd like to say. I know we have episode releasing every day. Then next Thursday, the 21st, we are actually going to do a live cacao ceremony. So I'd love for you just to touch on what ritual love is and what that's going to look like, because I know that's one of your favorite things right now to offer in such an amazing way that people can feel connection. I've actually done dinner parties with Sharon and just a number of other people in the recent days of where can we create unique experiences and opportunities to connect and also learn a little bit more about each other in a way that has that authentic feel. So Eric, tell us a little bit about what we'll experience on Thursday, and thank you again for everybody that showed up tonight and who's watching the replay.
Thank you, Michael. And yes, thank you to all for being here. The invitation with Ritual Love is through the medicine of cacao, which you can actually source on your own. Now that we can't serve it to you, we will send out an invitation to, some recommendations for some of the ingredients that we use to embody certain aspects of the cacao, with these rituals that bring us greater sense of connection to ourselves, our voices, and each other. And even virtually, we're anticipating a real medicinal experience for everyone, and sort of imbibing together. I've been on some virtual cacao ceremonies. The one we recorded for Calm in the Chaos was 5 of us on set, and it was just beautifully the sharing between us, just like we did here today, was just very in flow. So it was a good space for us to come together in that time, and we just want to share that with you. So there'll be 3 parts again: vocal activation, um, elixir ritual, which with the cacao, and then consensual touch, which we will invite you, if you can also source a flower, we will do a touch ritual using a flower on our own bodies. So we're missing a lot of touch right now, and touch from each other. We were hugging before, now we're not really hugging so much. There's a lot of touch that's missing. And so this will be an invitation to connect through the flower with this feeling of touch on your own body. And we did that in the experience as well. So that's a little bit of what we'll be doing and the intention, and really sending our love while we're doing it to farmers in places like Peru, where I've been sourcing cacao, who work very hard in those fields to bring us this beautiful fruit, which is what cacao is. And all the farmers, really, all the farmers in America, all the farmers in Peru, indigenous places that are working so hard to provide us with food right now, especially in these times when the food chain is just working somehow, and there's a lot of people not going to work, but we're still getting what we need. So the earth is really abundant. We're actually producing so much more food than we even consume. So yeah, also gratitude for the earth, of course, for providing us with everything, but specifically here, the cacao. So maybe another part of the intention there. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, thank you, Eric. And just again, thank you for everybody that co-created this offering. We will be again releasing each episode at noon Mountain Central Time or Mountain Standard Time. And you can sign up for any of the episodes or all the episodes at episodes.findmyzen.com. There will also be the giveaway opportunities there. There'll be some other discounted or other offerings that you'll find out about, as well as information about each of the facilitators that we are bringing onto this Calm in the Chaos series. And again, thank you for everybody tonight. We hope to see you again soon, especially next Thursday, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Much love to you all.
Much love.